Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. Brand new episode of the GOWEN Racing Podcast here on the channel with myself, G Slim, and Jay
What?
Cooker.
Okay. Hold on now. I don't know if I like that one.
What's going on?
Come up with something else.
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I think I'm doing quite okay. How about yourself?
Probably better than you, actually, because I heard, I saw your tweet last night at like 1 in the morning
Oh, brother.
about, you were like,
Don't get me started.
I was tired, so I was confused. You're like, there's something about majors. What the heck's golf getting brought
That
up
was
for at this time? And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it was that thing, the race.
Yeah.
So, how'd that go?
Well, we wound up P9 in our class, P9 in our class, 10th overall. The guys in LMP, the leaders in LMP2, the winners of that, like they somehow over the course of 24 hours played the most perfectly race you could do. They did not have a single crash, and they were ahead. When I went to bed at 4 something in the morning with like 5 hours left, they had like a 4 or 5 lap lead on second place in their class. I have never seen a such a dominant performance from a single car in a 24-hour endurance race like that. So those guys were fucking insane. The rest of our split, I mean, when I went to bed, we were 19 or 20 laps down, and we still finished in the top 10.
Well, there you go.
There
How many people were
was
in your class?
54. Oh, in our class, 19, I think.
Oh, okay, all right, not bad then.
It was like, I mean, we all had a faster pair, so that helped. But just the crashing. I've never seen that many crashes in an endurance race. I've never seen that many people make that many mistakes in an endurance race. And it wasn't really on them. It was mostly because the weather was whack as shit. Like, I I don't know. I don't want to just publicly bash the
Do it.
piss out of it, but the weather choices for that race were not great. We had 6 different stints of rain, which doesn't sound that bad when they only last for like an hour. Like I think the longest one was 2 hours at most, but it took like so every bit of rain there was about a 2 hour window in between before the next bit of rain came. It took that entirety of that 2 hours for the track to dry up, and then it would rain again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was horrible. You get one dry stint in, and suddenly it's raining again. It was god awful as far as that goes. It was just the weather decisions were really baffling, and just I mean, if we're going in the course of realism, it was not realistic at all. And then the one that really set me off was penalty stuff. It just race control was really stupid, and I was already tired, so I was already really irritable. But
Irritable
there
bowel
was a guy.
syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. There was a guy in a GT3 that was blinking. While it was raining, our driver had a wall of rain from another GTP or P2 in front of him, whatever it was, and the GT was on the left blinking. I called it out at the last second, but he could not see that car was there. He appeared, and then he drifted over a bit, or our driver drifted over a bit and wrecked him. And they, rightfully so, they protested it, and somehow race control held it up as a penalty. We appealed it. They still held it up as a penalty and gave us a drive-through, which in the end it didn't matter. It was just the principle of it is what pissed me off the most. Like I don't know how the fuck that is anybody's fault. And I was looking through, and there was close to 200 protests filed. I'm guessing maybe 5 of them had successful appeals. It was just fucking ridiculous. I was not a fan of a lot of things that happened in that race.
Well, we had to run an endurance race ourselves this weekend. Not 24 hours, but 6 hours at Watkins Glen, which will be live streaming.
If there is rain for that race this weekend, you're gonna hate me, but I think we should not drive the Cadillac and we should do like the Ferrari or something. The Cadillac is terrible.
Don't forget who you're talking to.
Bad. Okay.
They call me G Slim Rain Sim.
Brother, I was fine in the rain too, but the car just still sucked.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew me suggesting a different car was gonna be an immediate shutdown from you.
I ain't driving a GT car. Or you mean the
No,
Ferrari LMD? I don't have the Ferrari LMDH. I ain't paying money for that garbage.
why not?
It costs money.
So what about Spawn in a few weeks? Then you gonna be willing to pay money for a
Spa-
GT there?
I already have GT cars that can run it.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, we're not here to talk about this garbage. You know what we're here to talk about,
We
Jay?
could be.
I mean, we could.
It's our podcast. We can talk about whatever we want to talk
That
about.
is true. We are here to talk about NASCAR. That's what we're here to talk about.
All right, let's talk NASCAR.
There was a race today at Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. Took a few hours for it to get going because it rained. And man, I left this race. I feel like it's gonna be a pretty short episode because there was just not a lot to talk about. The race kind of, I don't know if I want to say, I don't know if it sucked. It felt like a normal Pocono race outside of, here's the external issue of a normal Pocono race, but then we have this issue where you couldn't pass the lead car.
Yeah, but Pocono sucks. So
Yeah, Pocono is just not a great racetrack. But man, I mean, Briscoe out here, thank God he didn't have to race for the win because we know how that would have went. He would have been, back in the wall. The only way that guy can win is just, if he's got no competition. So, we were watching towards the end, and my dad was like, "Why don't you like Briscoe?" And I was like, "Well, let me give you a list of reasons here." And I was like,
list.
The whole Indianapolis road course thing with Hamlin, he got penalized and he threw a little baby fit and dumped Hamlin after he got penalized. He's ruined the 2022 Coke 600 trying to pass the 5 for the lead and wrecked himself there. Screwed the 5 out of the win, screwed the 11 out of the win at Indy. Bristol Dirt, trying to pass Reddick and completely cleans himself out. And takes out the 8. So it's like when he's done these stupid things, he's also screwed 3 guys out of a win. And I just never liked him because of that,
Yeah, he's been unnecessarily aggressive and like
he's cleaned it up, to be fair. But
yeah, he hasn't done that in a bit now. But
it's like Jay, if you, for example, you go out and shoot Austin tomorrow.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Just a hypothetical. And
that's one heck of a hypothetical.
I'm not gonna like you for doing that. And just because you don't shoot Austin for 2 years after doesn't mean I'm gonna dislike you any less.
Yeah, I suppose that is one hell of an analogy.
I wanted to keep the analogy within our friend group to keep it, nice and relaxed, but
I don't know if the hypothetical of me shooting one of my best friends is something that is relaxing. I just want to also put it out there for Austin and the authorities. That is a hypothetical. That is not happening. I don't even know. I got nothing for that one, brother.
I'll have to edit that out. But no, I just haven't liked him because of those 3 things, and it's always like, just because he's cleaned it up doesn't mean I'm gonna start liking him. It's like example. Chastain's a great example. He had his stint of stupidity, and just because he's cleaned it up doesn't mean I like him now because of I'm like, man, look what you did before that made me mad. Unless he comes knocking on my door and he's like, hello, please cheer for me, then maybe I'll consider.
Oh, yeah, look at you. You'll fold in person now,
Yeah.
internet warrior.
Yeah, exactly. Keyboard warrior.
Armchair
Keyboard warrior. Remember that time Mike Joy called out keyboard warriors on the podcast or on the
did do
broadcast? And
did
man,
do
we had the last Prime broadcast today. That was
Big sad.
it was disappointing because broadcast is fine,
Bad
but
race.
bad race. Not even the broadcast. I felt like could save that one for me.
No.
I was watching. I'm just like, oh my god. I was like, this
Even
is
with
just
Steve
not
doing
good.
his thing of just like constantly keeping us updated, talking about the strategy, like obviously realizing himself that Briscoe is actually potentially going to be able to save enough, and like it still wasn't interesting enough. There still wasn't No broadcast could have made that race good. If that race was on Fox, it would have felt 10 times worse though. So
Yeah, very true. Um, Restarts were wild as expected. They always get going there. You go 3, 4, 5 wide down into turn one. Um,
most exciting lap and a half of the race.
that was pretty well, yeah. I mean, those restarts were exciting, and then they were, as soon as they single filed out within a lap or two, it was basically a whole lot of nothing. Now there was some passing, like it wasn't like they just not everybody could pass. Like there was some passing that took
Well, yeah,
place.
it's the thing with this car where if you're all in dirty air, nobody's car drives that good, so passing can still happen. It's when you get to the lead where there's clean air, it's just that's where the passing can't be done. Like Kozlowski, I may be getting ahead of myself here with the recap, but Kozlowski went from 24th to 9th, or maybe it was 8th, on that final run after their final pit stop. So you could pass, you just couldn't pass up towards the front.
One thing I know only really happens at like a Pocono or also a Michigan, and I always find it comical to watch is like because everyone's kind of make every guy for themselves, right? You're just trying to attack every position you can get, and I just like I found it funny in Michigan, and I saw it so many times today too, where someone has an opportunity to get alongside a guy they're coming up on, but there's no chance he's going to complete the pass, and he's going to save way more time pushing the guy instead of trying to fight him. But he goes up there and tries to fight him anyways, and then someone comes up behind and pushes the other guy, and now he loses like 2 spots because he wanted to try and fight for the spot that he wasn't going to get anyways.
Yeah.
I found that like it sucks, but it was comical because like you see it ahead of time. You're like, oh, this ain't gonna work, and then sure enough, he loses 2 spots by the next corner because he's like, well, I wanted to try and make a pass. Like I get it, but I'm like, come on, man. Like if I can see before you make the move that it's not gonna work, I know that you're a great race car driver. You probably know it's not gonna work either.
It's possible that I'm smarter than some NASCAR drivers because last week at Pocono in our Gears race, I did that several times where I was behind a driver and I got a run and I knew there was no way I could make the pass work. So I was just like, all right, well, we can catch the guys in front of us if I help push. So I'll just push and eventually we'd run the guy down.
It's weird because it's like, yeah, we saw it in the iRacing League race. It's the same track. You see it today. It's like they would rather fight and hurt their own race than just stay behind and actually wait for the proper opportunity to come up to make the pass.
Which in a way is not exactly like it half a car thing, half a track thing, right? Because I'm not sure that there is a car you take to Pocono where pulling out a line like that, trying to make a move when you don't have the strong enough momentum for it, or just staying in line and pushing. Like I don't know if there's a car at this track where that is not the better move to just stay behind and push. But it does show that this car is also kind of an issue as well, because when you have the ability to go and pass somebody, or the opportunity, I mean, to go and pass somebody, and you get side by side, and then now you're both just being dragged backwards and nobody can go anywhere. It's like, well, that's a little bit of a track issue, but it's also kind of a car issue, and just again points out the issue we have with this car currently.
You know what else was an issue before we get into the big dirty air issue? I guess it wasn't really an issue, but it was an issue for one specific team. 2311.
Yeehaw.
And their brakes were not working very well apparently.
Yeah, they were cooked.
35, Riley Herbst blows his I guess brake rotor or whatever, tire goes down, big hit, outside wall. Saw that, I'm like, oh, whatever, it's just one of them random tire issues. Then, like, 10 minutes later, it felt like the 23 has the same problem.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
I was like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute. Maybe there's something going on here. And then next thing you know, the 45's coming into the garage, and they're trying to do repairs to him. That was crazy. They brought him into the garage, and I don't even think he lost a lap. Or did he? He lost a lap towards the tail end, yeah. But the first go around, I don't know if he did. Well, I feel like he would have had to, like, because he came into the garage. They took the tire off the car, so he must have got a free pass really quickly after that or something.
Likely, I would assume so, because I would, I would think it wouldn't be more than a lap, maybe two at that track with how long it is. So yeah, I'm sure he got a free pass or two in there somewhere. Um, but the weirdest thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I even texted this to you. I don't know if I can remember a time where a driver is in the middle of crashing and they key up and speak during it. And like it was just kind of, I don't know if I can't find the right word for it. It was just kind of weird to hear Bubba be like, "Oh my God, this is going into the wall," and slamming that thing down because he knows what's coming. It was just, I don't know. It was not. It was not a thing that we get often where a driver's in the middle of crashing and they key up and talk and you can hear the emotion in their voice.
The only
That was
the
like a moment of like a pretty real moment there.
closest one I can think of is like Jeff Gordon, 2012 Chicagoland when his throttle stuck. I can't remember if
I don't know that one off the top of my head, but
because you could kind of hear
he
like
did it there.
the discomfort he was in when that moment. I can't remember if he did it like right when it was happening or it was immediately after. I can't remember, but that's like
But yeah,
the
we've had several
closest
do it
one I
immediately
can
after,
think
right?
of.
But
Well,
it's just
yeah,
like,
but I'm thinking that one might
just
have
one of
been
those-
during it.
you could hear the genuine like emotion in Bubba's voice where he was like, "Oh, I'm about to slam the fuck out of this wall," and like I don't know, it's just that it was a small thing, but it just got
Bro's
to me. I was
human.
like, "Oh damn, yeah."
Bubba's a cool dude. Not the day he needed. Lost some point.
Not at all.
He wasn't having a good day to begin
Lost
with.
about 30 points.
And yeah, not a good day for him on the cut line. But we didn't have. I did see, some tweets already. Like Briscoe's a wasted playoff spot. I'm like, he's currently in the playoffs on points.
Yeah.
And I was like, are we just on the trend ever since Shane
man's
Van
won, like,
Gisbergen
4
won
poles
last
this
week,
season.
or like is it just common now? Like, I mean, if Elliott wins, is he a waste of a playoff spot next week? Like what? I found that weird,
Yes.
but well, we ain't gonna go there. Chase Elliott finished good fourth today, I think. So he actually had another good run going there, and but. Yeah, I mean, let's think. What else? Kyle Busch wrecked himself again.
Mm-hmm.
Can't help himself. He just kind of
And wrecked SVG in the process. God darn
yeah.
it.
And then Shane Van Gisbergen said, "I'm gonna wreck myself too."
Yeah.
Later in the race, that was the final. That was the final yellow actually, and that completely screwed over Keselowski. Who
After
I mean,
he screwed himself over.
he screwed himself. Yeah, I guess you could kind of say he put himself in that position. Long game. How do you? So they
So
pit.
he explained it on the post-race show. I
Oh,
don't know if
so
you were able to
TSN
see.
TSN cut the broadcast halfway through the burnout.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I was like, really? Like, I didn't even get to see him get out of the car.
that's really cool. Nice, TSN. So he came on to the post-race show and was talking about it, and he was like, normally NASCAR will call you in, will open the pits at the end of the first lap, coming to the second lap under caution. For some reason today they were doing it at the end of the second lap, coming to the third lap. So it was just their procedure that they were used to.
Didn't you look at
And
the lights?
Since they were all used to it, since they were all used to it. No, he didn't think to look at the lights because he got called down by his team and his spotter, and he didn't think to double check. And so he brought that up, and he was like, "It's my fault. I should have double checked, but it was like something we're so used to. I didn't double check." So yeah, he should have done that, but he didn't.
And it cost them in the long run.
So yeah, so they were holding the pits for one extra lap, and it bit them that one time. And ultimately, really, it didn't ruin their day. He still finished top 10, but it hurt for sure.
Yeah, I guess they still got a respectable finish. He had a fast car.
He did.
24 had a fast car too. They didn't get the finish they needed. And also Larson kind of got himself out of that slump he's been in. I don't know, like you kind of call it a slump, but I think he's finished in like top 10 in a couple of races. But it's kind of like ever since the whole failure of the double, he's felt off. But at the same time,
Yeah, it started with his testing. Like as soon as he started testing and then had the testing crash, it's kind of been downhill since then.
but you look at the tracks that we've had, Pocono, Michigan, which Michigan used to be great to him, but it hasn't been great in the last few years. Nashville, it's tracks like those. Those are tracks he's always kind of not been the fastest at. So it's kind of hard to gauge it because it's like, oh, well, it's almost kind of normal. But it feels like a slump.
I'll give you Nashville, but I'm not going to give you Pocono and Michigan. Michigan, again, he was dominant there years ago. I know it's a different car and it's years later now, but even at Hendrick, we've seen them have decent runs there. And in Pocono,
last year he went backwards.
Dominate Pocono too.
He started up front last year at Michigan, but he worked his way backwards until he eventually wrecked himself.
I'm not giving you that he shouldn't be the guy. He shouldn't be one of the top guys in Michigan.
Oh, he should be, but I'm not saying that this is out of the ordinary for him. Like looking at if you compare this exact group of tracks to what he's done in the last year or even 2 years ago, I'm like, well, this is kind of normal. And then what he got Atlanta, who knows what he'll do there. We got such a wild card group of racetracks coming that we should wait to talk about until after we get through Pocono. But I guess, is there really is there anything we didn't touch on?
We got coming. When are we bringing on the guest?
Let's try to do next week or the week after.
All right.
So I'll hit him up, be like, hello, going here. Jay Cook wants you.
Yeah, I feel like next week could be pretty good. Okay, hold on now. I feel like next week could be pretty good since it's a night race, so we could just like whenever he's free, if he is free on Sunday. I don't know.
Wait. Is it Saturday race?
It's a Saturday night.
Oh, we're gonna be cooking. That's why Nitro's off. I saw Nitro had an off week. Okay. Jay has a phone call. We'll be right back. We're back from Jay's phone call, and don't remember where we were when we were.
I don't either, actually.
It was Pocono. It was stuff. Let's just jump into Chase Briscoe in the 19 car, shall we? And I think he did a absolutely fantastic job of highlighting what is wrong with the next gen car today. You couldn't pass him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. Because he's what do we have, close to a 30 lap run to the end, right? It was
like 30, 31 laps, something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. And for all of those laps, he was saving. And had Denny Hamlin right behind him, had Ryan Blaney right behind him, Chase Elliott right behind him for a period of that. And all three of those guys were not saving. They were pushing, and they just couldn't do anything. Briscoe was max saving. He was half throttle down the straightaway, letting off, a billion feet before the corner, and Hamlin just could not do anything. There was a couple of times where he got a little close, but he never even got next to Briscoe. He never even had the opportunity to make a move. And it's just, man, this car is so stupid with the dirty air.
Yeah, it was every time that Denny would, get close it felt like within like 3 car lengths, it would just boom, plow.
Yep, he's gone. And next corner, he's gone again.
Yep. And you'd watch him kind of bring it back in, and then he'd get to the same distance, and then boom, it's just backwards he goes. Super frustrating to watch because Briscoe he was just able to, it wasn't just typical. He was able to, save major field over the course of that last run.
7.5 miles, I believe, was what he had to
something.
save.
It was 6 laps or something. I thought they said it was like 6 laps short originally.
No, there's no way he was 6. There's no way he saved 6
I hope not. Maybe I must have heard it wrong. Maybe it was 6 miles then. But literally any other generation of car, this never happens. But just super frustrating. Good for Briscoe getting the win, but it's like, man, it's
like you said, it highlights.
Yeah, highlights the problems with the car, Like, I'm just like, dang, man. Like, there in no world should he have won that race.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of like, dang, like, cool for you, but you didn't really have to do anything there. You just had all you had to do was throw dirty air on the car behind you, and you were fine.
Yeah, in no world over the last 30 laps of the race, do you have to save 7.5 miles of fuel and you still get to win? Unless there is cautions or whatever that let you save that. All of those laps running under green, you have to save 7.5 miles of fuel. There is no world where you should get to win that race still. But unfortunately, there is one, and it's the world we live in because NASCAR is brain dead.
Did you see what Larson said on the radio right towards the end?
I did not.
He was just like, "Hey Cliff, have I told you how much I love next gen racing?"
Yeah,
he's aware.
It's rough.
Just was not fun.
I think
Was
most
not
of the
fun to
drivers
watch.
are aware.
Yeah, I mean, how can they not be?
Like they're not stupid. They know there's issues. I can't wait to hear what Hamlin has to say tomorrow on his podcast. I mean,
maybe because his teammate won, he'll be nicer. He'll
I doubt
glaze
it. I don't think he's. I don't think he's gonna. I think he will put it like it is and be like, "Yeah, I just dirty air. I couldn't fucking do anything."
So Briscoe's in the playoffs now, locked in the playoffs, I should say. Okay, NASCAR app has updated, so there he is 8th in the playoff grid. Shane Van Gisbergen has more playoff points than Chastain.
Really?
Yeah, by 1.
I guess that's why he's. Yeah, I saw him earlier above him on the leaderboard. Which did make sense to me. I guess that makes sense now.
We got 5 drivers left on points, so.
Prime just finished their post-race show. They're officially done for the year. I am crying, screaming, and
let's talk about Prime. Fantastic broadcast. 5 weeks.
5 weeks I got to watch NASCAR in 4K, and now I got to go back to shitty streaming it on my computer.
How about, every time that intro came on, I was just like, let's go.
You knew it was NASCAR,
Yeah,
It was only 5 weeks, but you heard that and you knew it was NASCAR.
It's like, it's time for some left turns. Fantastic commentary and, everything from top to bottom was great. The only thing that got on my nerves sometimes was Trevor Bayne. Every time he'd key up, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, stop. I'm like, no, sir, is what I was saying. I'm like, you got to calm down, brother.
Yeah, there was, I don't know where that came from, but bro just took it and ran with it.
He just kept on going. But outside of that, everything was pretty great.
The other thing that until this week didn't get on my nerves, and I don't know if he's been doing it the whole time or if I just started to notice it, is how much Corey LaJoie is putting on the Clint Boyer shtick. And at first, I really enjoyed him being on the broadcast and enjoyed him being on the pre and post race crew. But maybe it was just a this week thing, and I don't know if it was the other 4 weeks too. But just calling, he very much had a Clint Boyer shtick to the way he was talking, calling people cats and just getting really amped up over dumb things and just saying really dumb sentences and phrases to try and be funny and comedic or whatever. And that was probably my biggest
trying
thing
too
about
hard.
I didn't like was that he was trying to be
Twitter
Clint
to like
Boyer
him
and trying to be funny, and not cool, not cool at all.
Was it just me, or did you notice any like Hocevar glazing today? Like a few times when he was driving forward, it just kind of like peeked into my ears of just like how much they're like, look at the talent is undeniable. I'm like, we already know this. And he's driving through the field, and I'm like, Keselowski's doing the same thing right now. The 24 is doing the same thing, but they're just like, the 6 is coming up his way through the grid. Here comes Byron. Hocevar's talent is undeniable. Look at this guy. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I didn't notice it that much, but if they were doing that, I assume that was just kind of like hey, he's talented and not
he's a popular topic lately.
Yeah, that too, but they have done their fair share of bashing Hocevar, so it's probably a bit of we need to stop bashing him and, say good things about him is possibly what that could have been. But I wasn't paying all that attention. I was, Austin, he bought, this, but I'm just going to say this for the sake of the podcast. Austin bought a next level racing sim rig like in September or something like that. And the one he bought, he bought an open box version from Best Buy, and they weren't giving him the purchase. Like, it was taking forever to confirm, so he got impatient and bought a new one, and then he got the other one anyways, and he was like, well, I can just give this to you. And then I finally got that, so I was building that today during the race. So I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to things they were saying while I was trying to build that, and that was the biggest headache in my life. I should have taken a picture of how it looked in the box, Gary, because the person that returned this thing was a absolute buffoon, and it was a mess, and it took me so much longer to build it than it should have because it took things apart that should not have been taken apart, and had to figure out what the fuck they were.
You said
I hated
next level racing rig?
Yeah, it's coincidence.
Wow, did you know?
You got a code there.
I have a code, GOWEN25, that'll get you a 5% discount on all next level racing products using my code. If you're an American, United States viewer, yeah, I don't even get the discount because I'm not American. Canadians aren't eligible.
Discount anyways.
Well, I meant like, hypothetically, I wouldn't even be able to
Okay.
get a discount because I'm a Canadian. But anyways, but yeah, I was gonna bring up something, but I forget what it was now. So, we were talking about Prime. We go to TNT starting next week for the 5 weeks, and it's also the entire bracket challenge thing. Which excited for the bracket
I don't know if they spent
challenge.
a single second talking about that during any of these last 5 weeks on the Prime broadcast. I'll be
I don't
honest.
think
I don't know if there
I
was a
don't
single
recall it
second
being
talked
mentioned.
about.
And we
Which
know
that's also like, I don't know why themselves and NASCAR are not promoting it more. TNT is promoting it.
maybe they'll promote it heavily
There's
this
not been
week.
much promotion coming. I guess so, but like it's a little bit late for that.
My question is, TNT, like I know we got the same commentary and stuff with like, Adam Alexander, Letarte, Dale Jr., whatever. My question is, are we gonna have a post-race show? Are we gonna have like a pre-race show?
Well, considering the talent for the pre and post race show is different as well, I don't know if we will. I kind of doubt it.
Like, man, like if you don't, like you've already dropped the ball,
Yeah, I think it's like, I think anyways that all of the behind the scenes people, like the production crew and all that, I think is also the same.
Yes,
Just
because
they're
they're
showing it on
from
a different
NBC.
network. So I would think that it's not going to be that much different, aside from maybe no pre and post race. There will be a pre race show, obviously. I don't know about a post race show, but is it Max or is it a different streaming opportunity that they're putting it, streaming service they're putting it on?
I have no idea.
Because they're doing it on TNT and another one, and I forget. Like it's also on a streaming service too, I think, and I don't remember if it's Max or what, but they might do the post race show on the streaming service instead of on TNT. I don't know, but I hope that they give us one because it was nice to have one for the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed, let down if they didn't. Be cool if NBC could kind of work something like that, into their
You would hope
format.
that Letarte and Junior's, well, I guess not so much Junior anymore, but Letarte's experience there, and some of the other people's experience there, like background experience or background people experience, would come over to NBC and be like, "Hey, we got to do this too." You'd think.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. That'd be cool. So TNT starts next week at Atlanta Echo Park Speedway, I should say. Echo Park Speedway this weekend for the 5-race bracket challenge, which has it has Atlanta, it has Chicago, it has Sonoma, it has Dover and Indy. I'm not a huge fan of the racetracks because I think you got 5 races and you're essentially putting 3 wild card races in a 5-race challenge. I think it should be more of like maybe like a 1 wild card race and then 4 more traditional type races because like I get what they're trying to do. They want like the upsets and stuff, and they want like Cody Ware going for $1 million when you come down to Indianapolis. But like at the same time, do you want to see? Let's use a realistic option here. Imagine like just because of the way the seating is, it's over the last 3 races, right?
I think so. Yes.
What if somehow, like, I don't know, for example, Zane Smith through these wild card races finds himself in the final matchup at Indianapolis, and cool, but for a casual fan, I'm thinking about, because this is kind of something to appeal to the casual people, right? What are they going to think when they see a guy that runs, you go to Indianapolis, is more of an average oval. What are they going to think when they see the guy that's running 25th fighting for $1 million because he's the top guy going into the end of this bracket challenge? Do you get what I'm trying to say there?
And let's say in that same hypothetical that he is going up against Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, it's not even a contest.
Hamlin's going to be running in the top 5, and Zane Smith is going to be running barely in the top 30s in the entire race. You're going to know who's going to win the $1 million. Like, you'll know who's going to win the $1 million before the race starts. And of course, in that same sentence, it could be Denny Hamlin versus Kyle Larson, and Larson wrecks on lap 5, and now we know for the rest of the race who the winner is. But still, it's
at least we knew we had a good
part
matchup.
of racing too, but yeah, at least the matchup was good. The potential was there, but in a sense, I agree with you. I don't like that there is I don't like that there is a road course in there. I'm not a big fan. Sorry, 2 road courses in there
and a super speedway.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'm okay with Echo
Atlanta's
Park.
great, so I
just saw Echo Park on the speedway or on the schedule, and I said it out loud instead of Atlanta. I'm gross. I'm okay with Atlanta being there simply because it's like you won at least one race where all 32 seeds have a chance to pass each other and make it at least a little interesting for a potential for an upset. I don't like that they're going with 2 road courses though, because like Hamlin has said before, you're going to get to a road course
so
and
separated.
once they get all spread out. Yeah, once you get so spread out, you're no longer really going to see those guys potentially racing each other anymore. And we get 2 weeks of that. 2 straight weeks of that. So I don't know. I think I'm okay with the schedule other than those 2 road courses. I think Indy being the final race is they could have chosen a better track, but there is, the Brickyard 400 $1 million on the line as well.
Iowa would be better.
Iowa was decent last year in the next gen.
Yeah, so I'm like, you could have a good little matchup there,
But I can see why they chose Indy, because it's the Brickyard 400. It's $1 million on the line. It's, there is the marketing material there, especially if the matchup is good. So, if we get a good matchup going into the Brickyard 400, I think that could make that race that much better. It just depends on what the matchup is going to be. To be completely honest, it's going to depend on what the matchup is. If it's a Hamlin versus Larson, or a Blaney and Larson, or anybody in the top 10 in points versus each other, it could be good. But if we get a like you said, a Zane Smith in there versus somebody that's in the top 5 or top 10 in points, it's like, well, okay, this is kind of a wash.
So just literally on Twitter, not even 20 minutes ago, Prime showed the round 1 seeding.
Oh, did they?
And I
had the post race on, but I wasn't paying full attention. So
man, I can load this picture in 4K.
Sheesh.
I'm gonna send you the picture, so that way we can look, because I'm curious. The first one I saw though, Denny Hamlin in Atlanta is going up against Ty Dillon.
Wow.
But it's Atlanta.
To think we know who would win that matchup, but we have seen Hamlin's record at New Atlanta.
Yeah. Kyle Busch versus Keselowski. Bowman versus Logano. Like, that's a tight one. Wallace versus Suarez. Let's see. I'm looking for standouts. Like Elliott versus Austin Dillon. Bell versus Stenhouse. Who's Priest Byron? Blaney Hocevar.
Actually, some of these matchups are pretty good, actually.
Larson Reddick. That's a good one. McDowell Allmendinger. Not bad.
Ty
Busher,
Gibbs and
Gilliland.
Justin Haley. Holy mid-off.
Which one can finish 20th? Where did Ty Gibbs finish? I think Ty Gibbs ran top 10, actually. Did he finish in the top 10? I'm curious. No.
I don't know. There was the moment
14th.
where him and Hamlin were fighting with each other.
Yeah, he finished 14th. Where is he at in the playoff situation? He is... okay. He's going to win. Okay. But yeah, it'll be interesting then.
Who wound up being the 32 seed? Oh, Ty Dillon. Okay.
Yeah, he's bottom. So Hamlin's the top seed. How is Hamlin the top? He missed a race.
Because he won. Yeah, see, you have the same thing that everybody else does.
Wait, because he won.
The way they seeded this is so fucking stupid. It's your best finish of the 3 races.
Oh, that's how it works? I thought it was average finish of
Yeah,
the 3 races.
I thought it was too. I thought it was average. At first, I thought it was points, and then I thought it was average finish. But no, it's just your best finish over those 3 races.
Wait. Oh, okay, so Briscoe. So if you won the first of the 3, you'll be the top seed. So Briscoe's not the top seed because he didn't win the first one. He won the third one, so he moves to the second seed because SVG won Mexico. This is so stupid.
Yeah.
The way they
really
seeded, I don't understand why you couldn't
really
take first in points and make him seed number 1, and 30th in the standings be seed 30.
Because
you're still going to get the upsets that you want.
Looking at this, we have Tyler Reddick, 23rd seed, William Byron, 18th seed.
Bro's leading the championship. He's 18th seed.
I actually don't see many others in here that are out of line. Honestly, those are the only 2 that I can call out that are just kind of like actually insane, to be honest. Zane Smith being the 14 seed is that's insane, actually. Never mind, that's another insane one.
Logano's seed 25.
I didn't call that one out because I thought it was deserved.
I didn't realize he's been running that bad. 2024 champion, by the way.
Yep.
Interesting. Who does that?
He
has won. He's
Texas.
Texas.
Thank you.
And to be fair, he straight up won that one. It wasn't a Mickey win like 4 of the 5 last year that he had. The only time Logano had a straight up win was Richmond, and then the 3-car wrecked him. But
also, yeah, Larson. I guess Larson being the 10 seed is also kind of crazy.
Yeah, he should be a top 5
not
seed.
Be a double-digit seed. Yeah, it should have been off of points scored over those 3 races. It really should have been.
Or it should have just been off the regular season standings following today.
Yeah, that's fair. If NASCAR is going to do the 3 seeding races, why are you not at least promoting those as well and having your broadcast partner promote those as well? Like, what is the point of having the seeding races if I didn't even know what the seeds were potentially going to be until they were all set after those 3 races? There was no promotion of look at the seeding coming in today at Pocono, and now after the race we can see how much it changed and whatever, and we can see how much it changed from the first one to now the end of Pocono, and like there isn't that because there was none of that posted. There was none of that promoted. Why even make them a thing if you're not going to promote them and make the seeding process visible and open and known to your fan base and to other people to possibly get interested in it? All of a sudden next week they're going to show up and this tournament has started and they have no idea the lead up to it. They have no idea what seed is what. Like, it's just, the idea is cool. The execution is awful.
I agree. Great idea. Still going to be fun to watch. I'm going to have a good time watching. Now, is there like a fan thing to do? Like, is there like what do I say?
Betting.
Oh, is that it? Like, is there not like a fan bracket we can fill out that NASCAR is hosting or something? Because I'm not going to bet on it, but that would be kind of, I would like to do some bracket thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I don't know if they've announced that they're doing that though. So if they are going to do it, I don't know if they've announced that yet. But that would be cool if they would do that. It would be neat.
Be interesting.
But as far as I'm aware, this it's to promote betting and increase betting and give other casual sports fans a reason to watch, because let's be honest, a lot of sports fans watch sports to bet. And it's, NASCAR is tapping into that market. I can't say I blame them.
I agree. But it is it'll be interesting to watch. I'm excited for it, like I said. So, do we have anything else to talk about from Pocono or anything? I don't know.
I mean, we didn't touch on Xfinity all that
much.
I
Yes.
don't know if you want to talk about that. But...
So trucks, first of all, Truck Series, I didn't watch trucks. I was working the entire day, so I didn't see it. But did you?
I was doing something on Friday, and I saw like 4 laps of it, I think, or something like that right at the end. There was something that kept me from watching it on Friday, but I forget what it was.
Okay, well, Xfinity was, typical Pocono, really. Um, but Connor Zilic, he finally beats the road course merchant allegations and wins on
He did
a
do that.
triangle. It's close enough to an oval. But we saw this coming. I mean, he finished second in Nashville. He finished second at Charlotte. So it's not like I was certain that his oval win was coming much sooner rather than later. I didn't think Pocono was going to be the one he did it at though, but he
Yeah.
managed to pull it off. So and with Dale Jr. being the crew chief, that was really cool. Kyle Busch, he wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I thought that was a really cool scenario. I mean, you couldn't script it better. Like this whole situation happens, and you're like, well, heck, I'll just crew chief the car, and then you go and actually win the race.
Yeah, and like you mentioned Pocono not being the place you thought he would get that first oval win. To be fair, he's had 3 or 4 of them get away from him this season. He's had his opportunities to win, and it just haven't fallen. And they finally did here at Pocono. So, good to see him finally get a win. And it was a really neat story that Dale Jr. was on the box. And I don't know how many Junior fans we have that watch this podcast because that number gets small with the already small number of people watching, anyways. But I kind of agree with the Kyle Busch take, and I know that people were up in arms about that, but the crew chief suspensions
Like everyone
are
knew that, though.
genuinely a joke these days.
Like any NASCAR fan that watches avidly knows that the crew chief can do everything all week. Well, they just don't pay attention, I guess, because we know the crew chief does everything except for sitting on the pit box on Saturday in this case. Outside of that, he does every single thing that he normally does. And
not only that, there's so many engineers and things that teams work with nowadays that the crew chief has not a small role. I don't want to reduce the role a crew chief has at all, but they have so much help behind the scenes. That help doesn't go away with the crew chief being suspended. It just transfers to whoever is being the crew chief. So Junior had all the information possible available to him because the normal crew chief was still just working his normal job, but instead he had to use a phone to get the information instead of a radio. And there's also so many engineers helping him out to do stuff. Junior's not making solo calls of when to pit and when to not pit on his own out there and just guessing. There's a bunch of people that are all doing that information together and telling the crew chief what they think is the best plan.
Still thought it was really cool either way.
It was.
And
but Kyle Busch was not exactly wrong either.
Yeah, I think he just kind of, I mean, I fully understood what he was saying and fully agreed, but also at the same time, I was just like, man, you're still salty as a Dale Jr. hater. But no, I thought he was absolutely 100% correct, but I don't see an issue either way. So it was cool. Yeah. And Connor Zilic gets the win. Jesse Love was up there running good. Chase Elliott looked like he was probably going to be the winner if things didn't quite go wrong for him there. But, it was great. Did you ever see the restart with Allgaier?
I did not, actually.
I didn't think there was really an issue with it, but yeah, he completely choked it and drove down in there and, just about wrecked himself. Elliott. Zilic as well.
Let me see if I
can
pull it up.
I was just like, man, that's a kind of a racing that you just simply cannot get with the next gen car because it's just not the way the cars are. And if we were in Gen 6, we could still have something like that. But I thought that was really cool, just watching them truck it down in there, and then they lose the cars and they're slipping and sliding around instead of next gen, where it's instead you'll whip it down in there and you just plow tight and push air and go up into the outside wall type stuff. But outside of that, it was a solid race. So pretty well all I have to say about that.
I cannot find a clip of the restart. I'm trying to find it and I do not see it yet.
I don't know if they have it here. I mean, maybe it's somewhere. You can find the race.
Oh wait, I think this might be it right here. Is he in the middle of 3 wide and gets really loose, and then Chase Elliott is like losing a ton of spots now?
Yeah.
Is that what happened here? Yeah, okay, I see. He just sent it into turn 1.
Yeah, he drove it off in there.
Yeah, he very
Didn't
much
work.
sent it in there.
Allgaier kind
of.
Allgaier is weird because he's like a really like relaxed, tame driver. But then he has those moments where he just kind
He
of,
does have those moments.
chucks it off in there. I don't think it's worked a single time. I can't think of one time where it actually worked for him. But I love it.
Typically,
I'm
when he
like,
gets
go for
aggressive,
it,
he
brother.
crashes.
Yeah. But yeah. That was Pocono. Anything else do we have?
From the Pocono side, no, not really. I feel like there was something else that either I had in mind or you had in mind or we both had in mind outside of Pocono, and I don't remember what it was anymore.
I was hoping Stenhouse was going to junk the 77 today when he had the opportunity, but he didn't.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for that one too.
That was pretty well all I had. Yeah, I guess that's pretty well it. Pocono, not a lot to go on for Pocono. But, we do have Atlanta this weekend. Echo Park Speedway.
Woohoo!
Super Speedway racing under the lights. That is going to be exciting. Anytime, racing there is great, but every time we go there, it feels like they're losing more grip with how quick the track is wearing out. But obviously, with it being nighttime, that's gonna kind of, they'll be gripped up a lot more. So it'll be. I think we're probably in for like a classic banger this weekend.
The only thing that is worrying me at the moment, and it is still a week out, is we're not supposed to get rain at all this week until guess what day?
Saturday.
Yep.
Let's go,
Still
baby.
a week out, and it's summertime in Georgia. It can change on a whim, but it's supposed to be dry all week until next weekend. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Hopefully we don't get into a situation of race to halfway. Like I will say, was it last year or the year before where it was a race to halfway race and it was fucking beautiful?
I think it was
where they got really desperate.
I think it was last year. No, it was 2 years ago because last year the playoff race it ended in the daytime.
That's right. Yeah. So
yeah,
it was 2 years
and Byron
ago.
won it, and Suarez was second, and I remember that.
I think they wound up racing that race out, but there was a while where they thought it was racing to halfway, and they got really desperate, and it was
no, it got shortened though.
Really, it did get shortened.
Yeah, they got close. It was probably like it was within the final 30 laps or something, maybe even 20 laps, and then the rain came, and then they ended it. But it was.
So it always does get more interesting when they get desperate and race to the rain, but you don't want that to happen.
I do.
Especially why?
Chaos.
Well, okay, the racing is good, but I don't want the race to be shortened, is what I'm saying.
No, I was thinking I want to see them go off and race in the rain again and wreck half the field.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to see that again. Suarez, if Daniel Suarez is going to make it in the playoffs, we need half the field to crash. And he needs to win. And that Atlanta could be his last shot to get in the playoffs.
Last time they did that,
he was leading and crashed head on into the outside wall.
So, yeah, last time that happened.
However, that was 2022, the only consistent season he's ever had in his career. And this year he'll be running about 30th, and then hopefully he misses the big crash.
Okay.
He has time. He has time to back it down.
Get through and win from 30th though.
Oh, you just got to have a dream, brother.
You'll have Justin Haley running in 19th who sneaks through just like Austin Dillon barely did, and then he wins the race.
That'd be one heck of a scene. So let's look at we got race picks then. Do we have a truck race this weekend? No. Trucks?
No, it's just
trucks are at Lime Rock.
Cup. Oh, yeah.
Cam Waters is going to be in that race, by the way. That's going to be cool.
That's a random one.
So picks. Oh, look at this. So Pocono, I picked Chandler Smith. Not sure where he finished. Let's see. I know Corey Haim had
Corey
issues.
Haim wrecked, so. Or whatever it was.
He had a tire go down. Let's see. Where is Chandler Smith? What car does he drive?
The 38?
Dog, where is he? Corey Haim was 23rd. I swear I'm not seeing Chandler Smith anywhere.
I'm not seeing him either.
Oh, 7th. All right. So I win. Trucks and Pocono.
Darn it.
which means I'm gonna take Cam Waters for Lime Rock then.
I don't know who else is racing it, but I would imagine no Cup guys are because they got a race later that night. So, barring any issues, I will go with Corey.
I already typed it in before you even said it. I already knew.
That's funny. That's funny.
Let's just look at previous truck picks here. Pocono, Jay took Corey Heim.
One of us every week.
Nashville, I took Corey Heim. Kansas, I took Corey Heim. In Texas, Matt took Corey Heim. He was with us for that episode. Then we did I don't know what race this was earlier in the year. Jay took Corey Heim.
On
Not at all.
Okay.
But we will update it by the end of the year. There's only one weekend, and it was the Miami weekend. Is the only weekend none of us took Corey Heim.
There was a week where somebody didn't take him?
Yeah, and it was the one that he was about to win until he had issues. But you actually got the winning pick because you took Larson.
Oh, okay. Who did you pick then?
Who did I pick? Hold on, let's go back. I picked. I don't know why I picked Ty Majeski.
That's a choice.
I think I've picked Ty Majeski like 3 times
worked.
this year.
I guess because I'm pretty sure he finished higher than Heim that race. So I guess technically.
No, Heim finished third.
Choice, but... Oh, he still finished. Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
because he had the issue, but he held on right at the end. Anyways, Xfinity Series also in Atlanta. I'm going to guess they're racing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're Friday night.
Friday
Yes,
night.
sir. That's Friday night
time.
Xfinity. When's the last time we had a Friday night Xfinity race? Friday night Xfinity racing goes so hard.
I don't know if he had one at all last year.
Oh, would you look at this? I picked Connor Zilich in Pocono.
Ah, dang it.
And you picked Allgaier.
I believe. Yeah.
Atlanta.
Dang it.
Oh, wait.
Dang it.
Wait a minute.
Dang it.
Austin Hill is who I'm going to take.
Dang it.
We got to change. Next year, I want to do, I don't know if you listen to Door Bumper Clear, but
I don't.
They have this system that I want to adopt either next year or maybe we could even do it in the playoffs.
You pick a driver, you can't pick him again for
Correct.
the whatever next week or something. Okay.
So you get to pick one. You can only pick that guy one time the entire season.
Oh. Okay.
So you got to play. You got to think long term. You got to plan it out.
So are you telling me by like Phoenix, I'm gonna be choosing?
Ty Dillon's hanging in there, man. You know.
I'm going to be choosing Leland Honeyman for the Phoenix weekend or something.
Anthony Alfredo's out here in the 62 car.
Sorry, Leland. That's no disrespect to you, but goodness gracious. Okay, that does sound interesting.
You got to use those for the super speedways, you know. Like, I'll take Brayton Laster.
So I assume they keep track of scoring. So how does the scoring work then?
So it's the head-to-head. Yeah.
Okay.
So like you choose Kyle Larson, I choose Zane Smith, and then the head-to-head, blah blah blah. Whoever finishes better.
Okay.
So
interesting.
We could try doing. I think the system's cool. We could try that even for the playoffs. Like we'll take the.
We could, yeah.
10 races. We'll take the 16 playoff drivers.
And you can only choose them once. Yeah, that's fair.
I think we'll try that.
Actually, no, I like that idea. I do like that idea.
Yeah, write that down. I'll write that down.
Write that down.
Write that down. We're cooking.
We're at Atlanta. You've already chose Austin Hill. I'm gonna go with his teammate Jesse Love.
That's a solid pick.
I gotta imagine there might be some Cup guys racing too, but I don't know, so I'm just gonna choose Jesse Love.
Cup Series. I think you beat me in the Cup Series. You picked Hamlin. I picked Larson. That's the only side you beat me on this weekend.
Man, that is not usual. Usually I sweep the darn weekend with you in these picks,
okay.
I'm just that good. Let's see. Who am I gonna choose for Atlanta? I'm not gonna choose Denny Hamlin this time. That's for sure. Was it Bell that won there earlier this year? It was Bell, right?
Yes. Finished under caution, and it was controversial.
That's right. Let's see. I was not ready to choose, so give me a second here.
I already got my
pondering.
pick.
Yeah, do you?
I know you're not going to have the same driver as me.
Are you sure?
100%.
Are you sure you're sure?
100%.
You know what? I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here, and I'm not sweeping the weekend this time. I'm going with Brad Keselowski.
Okay. I am going. It's happening eventually, and one of these times I'm gonna be right. Kyle Larson's
Oh
gonna win a
God.
super speedway race.
Okay. Ew. Okay. I can see Kyle Larson is gonna win a super speedway race. He will eventually. Atlanta's the first one you think he's gonna get?
He's way better. Bro, have you seen him run Atlanta? I mean, other than the
Have you
first
seen him
like
crash
he,
Atlanta?
he wrecked like the first 4 or 5 times, but then he's had like a pair of like top 5 runs. All it took was him to junk Cindric, this in the spring. It's gonna happen. One of these times he's gonna do it. So
I think he's more likely to get one at Talladega one of these times than
no,
he is
I
Atlanta
mean,
or
if you
Arizona.
can take the lead with 50 to go, maybe. It all comes down to that final pit stop. If he's not leading, he's screwed. You can pass in Atlanta. Give me Kyle Larson
true.
again.
That's true.
I'm taking Kyle Larson, but I'm not. I'm confident. I'm confident this is the weekend he wins the super speedway.
Super Bowl halftime show sponsored by Pepsi.
Sponsored by Pepsi. I'm just. How many times have I picked Kyle Larson? 1,
Probably
2,
majority of the weeks because I haven't picked him. I don't think really all.
3. You picked him in Texas.
Okay.
Thank God we don't have the rule yet of only picking the guy once. Oh, you picked him in
You and me both,
Miami.
'cause I think I've picked Allgaier about 15 times in Xfinity this year.
I've only picked him 3 times.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and it's been like the last 3 weeks. Well, there you have it. I picked him at Kansas
F1
and
next weekend?
is there F1? I think there is F1 actually.
Isn't it Austria?
Formula 1. Oh, it is. Yeah, Austrian Grand Prix. You're
Look
right.
at me knowing the F1 schedule. I totally didn't just guess.
F1 Austria. We got to bring that up. So we picked for Canada. Oh, you beat me on that one. I picked Lando Norris. You picked Oscar Piastri. We saw how that went down.
We did. It ended up with him and with Norris in the wall.
This is gonna be my first weekend, first weekend confidently not picking a McLaren driver because I feel like the McLaren dominance is kind of ending.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they still have the most rapid car. It's Piastri or nothing right now because Norris is just. I mean, man, he is. I don't know if it's folding under pressure or if he is just genuinely a trash can. But my man is not
he's trash.
good. So it's Piastri. Okay, it's Piastri or nothing right now.
Jay's going with Piastri again. I'm gonna take.
That's not what I meant, but I'm still gonna choose him anyways.
Oh, okay, well there you have it.
I was just saying specifically more for McLaren that they're still the dominant team, but it's McLaren or it's Piastri or nothing. However, I'm still picking Piastri.
It's Red Bull's home race.
And they're gonna lose their home
Now
race.
they find, man. I'm telling you, when Red Bull was not the best team, they always figured something out in Austria. They had that magic. They're probably cheating up the car or something. But they were figuring something out. So I'm giving me Max Verstappen in Austria. And Jay's going to take Oscar Piastri. Austria, sounds similar. I think that's a match made in heaven right there.
Exactly.
Oscar, Austria.
Exactly.
There's something there. All right. Well, I guess that pretty well wraps it up for us here this week. And we will hopefully, we'll have a guest, an ARCA driver sometime, hopefully next episode or the one to follow. I'll send them a DM on Twitter.
Yeah,
probably
I guess it
tonight.
depends on what their schedule is like because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the ARCA. I
is.
haven't watched an ARCA race in I don't know how long, man. Didn't even know the series was still
Speaking
alive.
of which, did you happen to see the interview of the driver who won an ARCA this past weekend?
No, I didn't even know they had a race.
Okay, fair point. I'll send you the clip of it. It's
All right,
it's something.
I'll check it out. Well, there we have it. We'll be back next week following Saturday night Atlanta. We'll probably still record Sunday, but we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys then. Thank you for listening as usual. And yeah, we'll see you following Echo Park Speedway. We'll have plenty to talk about from Super Speedway Racing, Under the Lights, Bracket Challenge, Race 1. Surely there'll be some upsets there. It's going to be certainly an action-filled weekend. We'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching and listening. Have yourselves a great day.